And it's recording. And hold on. I'm getting the Google Docs up. On the limb. Okay. Here we go. All right, ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What's good? This is On the Limb. I'm Adam Mikuleshko here with alongside DMehl. DMehl is going to be one of our recurring guests on the show. He might not be on every episode, but he's definitely going to be on. And so DMehl, tell people about yourself a little bit.
Oh, well, I'm real excited to be here. I'm a communications major at Wilkes University with a sports management minor. I've been doing sports radio now for about 2 years. Started calling games this year and started my own show even on YouTube with a couple of buddies. So I'm real excited to dive in here and then help you out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so obviously it's a little weird right now with quarantine. Also, this can't be as professional as we would both like it to be. But I mean, we're going to do with it as we will. We're actually Skype recording right now. So Dylan, we actually kind of started off a little early in our lives meeting each other. We started off with fantasy football in one of our friends' leagues, Dominic, who will be another guest on this show. We didn't really have, we were always bickering back and forth with each other.
Yeah, see, Adam thinks that trades should be not allowed in fantasy football. I think the problem is Adam doesn't like that I take advantage of some of the not as savvy people in our team sometimes.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Like, honestly, like we have these fantasy football people who don't understand there's money on the line, and these kids, you send them trades and they're like, oh, let's go with it. And it never works out. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what kind of trades are these?
Yeah, but I mean, never gonna catch a fish if you don't cast the reel. So
I mean, I'm sure we'll be bickering this year. We're in a recurring, we're an annual fantasy league every year, so I'm sure it'll be happening this year as well. But right now we're on good terms, so it's all good. So let's talk about quick about your podcast. Like, I want to introduce that on here as well, so maybe people can watch that as well. So talk about that a little bit, or what's it about?
So far, we're just on YouTube. We only have one episode posted so far, but we're coming up with more of like a regular schedule for the coming weeks. It's called Stay Humble Sports. It's me, Dominic, as you mentioned, another buddy of ours that's actually in the Fantasy Football League as well, Owen. They're about hour-long episodes where we just sit down and talk about sports. We have an NBA What If the Playoffs Started Today video coming out. I believe Tuesday we're going to live stream that one. And then later that week, we're going to do our top 10 NFL teams going into the new season. And we're just looking while rolling.
Your top team better be the Eagles, as we have in the background over here, and your background.
I mean, of course, my favorite team, but I don't know if I'd say that they're the best going into next year. Could come out of it.
Possibly, we'll be diving in later on in episodes. I'm sure we'll be bickering back and forth. But for right now, it's an introduction to you. Get to let the people know who you are. So when we roll back into it, you'll know exactly who he is. So in terms of so you said you go to Wilkes and whatnot. So where are you originally from then?
I'm originally actually born in Sag Harbor, New York, Long Island, New York. Born, moved to Hastings, Pennsylvania in about middle school, and really got things going here. And then I went to the STEM school, met Dom, and that led me to this.
And see, look at this. So we're kind of both in different majors. I'm more on the sideline reporting. You're more broadcasting. So broadcasting is hard. I've done it once or twice. It's there's a lot of planning involved, and I've noticed with you and Wilkes, you've done a couple of volleyball matches by yourself, which props to you because that's hard calling, especially volleyball.
Yeah. The thing with broadcasting is you like watch it on TV and like you think like, oh yeah, I could do that. Like, and then like you start doing it and you're like, oh man, I really got to fill a lot of airtime, huh? Like, it's just like a lot more than you thought it would be. And then there's two different types of broadcasters for those that don't know: play-by-play and color. The play-by-play is the one that calls everything that you're seeing on the TV or what's happening on the field. It'll be like, oh, Mahomes passes, that one's going back, and it's caught by Tyreek Hill. And then the color commentator will be like what Tony Romo is, and he's like, this is what Mahomes saw here. He breaks down and analyzes the play after the fact. And generally speaking, I'm more of a play-by-play announcer, especially when I have to do it by myself. Don't really have a choice there. And but I really enjoy doing the play-by-play better because you get to just be constantly talking about what's happening and throw your opinions in there. And then if you need a breath, you can push it over to the next guy if there is another one and say, "What did you think about this?"
Well, see, I give you mad props for play-by-play because I actually did color commentary one time for a Lock Haven football game. I filled in for somebody, my first time ever, and color was even hard. I had no idea what to say. Maybe after the first quarter, I got a little more used to it, cut little jokes here and there. But play-by-play, like you have to be on top of it. So like, how do you learn these like terms and whatnot, especially for volleyball?
Yeah, volleyball was really interesting because, believe it or not, those were the first volleyball matches I'd ever been to, even.
Wow,
So this was just, I mean, me just diving headfirst in. And it's not, I didn't lie, but like they were like, oh, like, do you know volleyball? Do you think like you could do it by yourself? And I was like, oh, yeah, of course. Because like
easy.
you just have to just go out on that limb and say, like, yeah, I'll stick my neck out. Like, yeah, I could do it. And like if I fail, like, I'm in college. Like, this is the time to fail. And so I researched the game for a couple hours, learned the terms, and learned Wilkes's players, looked up their stats, and went into it with a decent amount of background. Probably had like a page or two of a notebook just in like stuff that I should say, know to say. And then if you go to like college games, they usually have like a program for you that's made by like the sports information staff that works there. So that gives you a little bit of stuff to talk about in like a pregame show. And really, it was just calling what I saw. I The one thing that's hard to get used to is like you have to learn the names of the people very quickly and like what role they play. Cause like for like Wilkes, like there's a setter and like then there's like a spiker, but like you have to like learn like all the names. Like for me, the people at Wilkes, it was like Ramon Diggs to Shea Set to Potter's Kill. Like, but you had to know that in 2 seconds as it was happening to keep up with it live, or else the play is already over.
Mhm.
Volleyball is such a quick sport, and people don't seem to realize that going
Well, it's
into it.
I feel like it's hard. I mean, when we're watching professional football, like NFL, whatnot, like you already know those players, like, but these players, like, they're such on the lower end, like even considering like D1 or D2, D3, all those levels, it's like wow, like they're kind of like everyone's no names unless you make it professional, pretty much, and like I mean, obviously that's not always completely true, but majority like that's hard, So I have to give you props. So like, do you do any other sports besides volleyball?
Yeah, I've done basketball. I mean, I found basketball a little bit easier, and the thing with basketball that makes it easier in a sense is they're not scoring as much. Like they score more points than a volleyball game, but they're not scoring as quickly. Things aren't as fast paced. But one thing that's hard because I do a play by play for radio,
Hmm.
so people aren't watching at all. So they're only going off of what I say. So I have to call every single pass that's made, where it's made to on the court. So I have to say this person passes to the near side, corner three side, and like that way they can really visually see what is happening on the court without seeing it. Versus if you're calling it and they can see a visual, you don't have to like announce every pass where it's going and everything, just more the important things.
Okay. So, what do you, I guess, did you have stuff planned during line or lined up during for the spring until
Yeah.
you know?
So I was gonna be solo again, just by myself, play-by-play commentator for Wilkes baseball and softball, and on the days that I could, lacrosse. And all
Wow.
of those are going to be by myself in the spring. Well, I got to call one Wilkes baseball game. I know you're a baseball player, so this
Hmm.
might seem odd to you, but for someone who wasn't a baseball player, the things that I was so worried about was when a ball was hit, how am I gonna know where it's gonna go? Because like you watch like an MLB game and the announcer just knows, oh, that's a pop out, and I'm like what? Like how do you know that? Like just immediately when it comes off the bat, that like that one's so quick. And I probably didn't pick it up until like the fifth or sixth inning as to
Oh
where
wow.
things are really gonna go. And a couple of tips that I was given, like you can watch the shadows, but if the sun's not out, just look at the outfielder and how they're reacting to it. If the
Okay.
outfielder is coming in, then like obviously that ball's not going farther than where they're coming. And if they're running back, you could say going back, and then you can just say caught. And if the outfielder just turns his head and looks at the wall, it's probably going to be a home run. I got
Possibly. I mean,
to see it run, so that was
on,
cool.
honest, honestly, like when I play baseball, it's all. I mean, it's such a different perspective. Like you're up in a booth and I'm down on the field. Like when I'm on the field, you know exactly where it's going. Like that's so easy to judge. But I feel like maybe anything if you see it on TV if it's aired, but like if it's just no TV, but you
No,
have
I
to
mean,
watch it. You have to judge.
yeah, I think it's one of the tougher spots to judge from just because the booth's not that high up, but there is
Mhm.
like a ceiling and a roof to it. So I can't, like, if you're in the stands, you can look up as high as the sky will go. But if I can't look up at a certain angle to see the ball anymore, because I'll just start looking at a ceiling and then I'm like, I don't know how much air is under that ball and like the speed that it's going past a certain point. So you really have to look to the fielder in that sense.
Well, I mean, I give you props. So like this year, so this was your junior year, so you'll be a senior next year. I guess jobs are coming up soon. Like how are you building up a reel for yourself at all, or have
So
you not started that yet?
every show that so I do okay, so I do a lot of different stuff. So
Mm.
I do a sports talk show that was weekly at Wilkes, but next semester, me and the two people that are more on it are looking to make it multiple times a week, maybe even a 5 day a week show. We're going to shorten the time for maybe like an hour episode because we used to do 2 hour episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays or just Tuesdays. So we're looking to do it more to get more topics involved. So but every episode that we do is saved onto the hard drive at Wilkes. So I haven't made like a personal reel yet, but all of what I've done is saved. Same thing with any game that I called for the Wilkes radio 90.7, it's there. All the games that I called this year for Wilkes' sports information department are saved online as well. And then I do writing for Wilkes' newspaper as well for sports. So they save all their articles online as well. So I have everything saved. I just haven't put it onto a website for myself yet. And the only reason I haven't done that is because I figured I'd be at my best once I have the most experience. So I
Oh,
want to see it
100%.
all collectively at the end and then pick out of the best. Because I don't want to put like if I had started last year, which some of the stuff that I did last year was like to me now like awful. And but to me then it would have been like some of my best stuff. So I would have put it on there and then had to just take it down. So I'd rather just wait till the end.
Yeah, and honestly, that's honestly all I've been told. Like, especially like being on camera because you're the same way. Repetition is key. On like, if you like, that's what you get. Like, I could definitely see a major turnaround from when I was first started up until recent. I'm still not good, obviously, but like everyone is in the same thing. Like, then I feel like even doing this right now, like it's helping us, on cam
Oh,
presence because. So I mean, any little bit helps.
yeah, for sure. I don't have to worry so much about the on-camera aspect because
Mhm.
anything I've called the sports have been on camera or it's just been radio, so I
Still
never
have
have
to
that.
you still have to call it like pretty you have to be on top of it like way more than I do. Like you are so fast paced.
Yeah, I know that like the radio station they get like their numbers and we have like thousands of unique listeners like every month. I don't know who's
Oh wow.
listening when we're on per se because we don't have like stats that far deep into it, but like I do know there's enough people out there that we have a bunch of listeners. And I thought that it was going to be scary at first, but I never really had that fear of like, oh, people are listening to me right now. Like, what are they
Mhm.
going to think or say? Because I started off in like a group scenario. So it wasn't
Okay.
just me, and like with the group, I was able to get comfortable. And then by the time I was by myself, like I was confident enough in my work.
Okay, that makes sense. So um so we're gonna branch off a little bit like off of sports. So I know that you are also into music. So if you want to talk a little bit music, because that's what also this podcast would be a little bit about, different
Yeah.
genres.
Yeah. I know we differ a little bit on genres,
Oh,
but
100%. I differ with a lot of people.
yeah, I'm more into rap music.
Okay.
I can get into R&B as well. Some like pop, like radio hits, like are good. I if you catch me in the right mood, I'll listen to country. It
Ooh,
depends. But
I'm not a
I
country guy. I'm sorry, everyone.
I just started listening to like a lot of Michael Jackson recently. So that's like kind of the kick that I'm on right now.
A
But
Michael Jackson kick. What's your favorite song right now?
so my favorite song, okay, that's tough. I have a top three though. My top three are Billie Jean, Dirty Diana, and Man in the Mirror. I don't know how I would rank them yet. I haven't like listened enough, but those are
Yeah,
definitely the top three for me right now.
but can you moonwalk is the real question.
Absolutely not. I
Oh, come
have
on, dude.
I have about no rhythm when it comes to dancing whatsoever, and I
I
think that's really
feel
it's hurting my TikTok career for sure.
TikTok would be another segment because that's on this that our podcast is on it as well. I don't know if yours is, but definitely making stupid segments might be a future thing. And
I have like a TikTok page like just by myself where I actually do music album reviews.
oh no way!
And it's little 60-second ones.
So I'm
So
gonna drop a mixtape and you can review my mixtape.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, so what were you saying? I'm sorry.
I can only imagine how good that would be.
Oh man, I have some bars for sure. Um, so okay, so this is we're gonna get a little controversial, and it's gonna because that's what's probably gonna be when we get little sports arguments, which is how it should be. We're
For
gonna
sure.
go to favorite sports player right now. What's your favorite sports player?
My favorite sports player, I don't think it'll ever change. It's been the same since I was a kid, and it's always going to be the same. LeBron James, the
So
greatest of all time, and I would argue greatest athlete of all time, period. But
okay.
just for controversial, I just should stick to just the NBA all time.
That's gonna be such a large conversation because I can't tell you how many times you and I got in arguments. Like if I'm over Dominic's apartment at Penn State, we're talking to each other about who it is. I personally think Michael Jordan is better, but that's such a topic that's never gonna change throughout
Episode in
history.
itself.
So I'll for right now. I'll let you have that one because we gotta. I want to make it like, just an introduction. It's just starting out. But
Yeah.
so if what's your favorite sports memory then?
Okay, I have two, and
Okay.
um, yeah, I have two. When the Cavs came back 3-1 in the finals, that was just so crazy for me because like when LeBron won his titles with the Heat, like I don't get me wrong, I watched those. I was a big fan at the time, but I wasn't just a huge sports fan. Like I was a big LeBron fan, but I just wasn't so into the sports world as I am now. But like watching that 3-1 comeback was just I mean, I had lost hope, but they came back and it was so exciting, especially the end of that game seven. The series itself wasn't really competitive. People don't remember that most of the games were actually like blowouts for either the Cavs or the Warriors, but that game seven game was amazing. But then when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I mean, talk about an underdog story having an amazing payoff. I
I
was
might
with
have cried a little
Dominic,
bit.
was with Dominic for that game. I just remember Tom Brady like throwing the Hail Mary and not being caught, and me and him just jumping up and down in like his dad's pool room, going crazy.
I
So
was honestly mad at that game because like the announcers really did not put much emotion into it. Like I expected like when the Eagles were gonna win, like people were gonna go, and the Eagles win, like get all pumped up and nothing. I was like, what are they doing?
oh man, like there's like when the Cavs won the title, Mike Breen is such a good announcer. I have so
Mhm.
much more respect for like his craft like now after even doing it. I mean, calling all those big time moments seemingly perfectly
Mhm.
is just amazing in my eyes as an announcer. But yeah, like that year that the Patriots beat the Falcons in the Super Bowl, that was emotional announcing. It was like, oh,
Oh,
and the
100.
Patriots win the Super Bowl. Like, but
I
like for the
still
Eagles,
don't
like,
understand that game. I don't understand that game at all when that happened.
yeah. But I mean, Mike Breen's call, I'll never forget. And Cleveland is once again a city of champions. Like, I mean, like, and then just, I don't know. I I feel like the thing is though, the NBA is so much more player driven than the NFL. That like
Mhm.
those moments will always be more emotional in the NBA. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, because it's gonna sound weird to say, but like the NFL players like have helmets on and stuff, and like so many pads that their body language and emotions are almost masked by it. But like for an NBA player, like they are fully exposed on that court, and like you can just see like all the raw reaction immediately as it happens.
That's actually a really good point, to be honest. I never even really thought about it like that, but you're 100% right. Body motion is huge, and emotion. I mean, I'm sure you're taught this as well. Like when I'm on TV, you're always taught to get capture the emotional moment because like that's what people want. That's what the viewers like to see. Like they like to see raw emotion, true emotion, not just oh, I'm always happy type of thing. Like people are sad.
Yeah. I mean, I try and capture that myself in my like announcing. Like I try and come off as like emotional and excited. And I mean, I didn't get to call like a Wilkes buzzer beater or anything this year. So like the time that I was able to do it was like with dunks, especially like just like they're not really that common in Division 3 basketball.
Right.
So anytime like a dunk happened, I mean, I just went wild and lost it. Like, I mean, I'd come up with like analogies. Like
What would
there was
you
like
mean?
this one Wilkes women's basketball game that like the crowd just wasn't really there. Like there just wasn't a lot of people there. And then there was like a couple of like 9-year-olds in the audience, like across from us, right? And they were just going wild the entire game, though. So I was just like, and the Colonel Army is going wild right now for Wilkes. But it was just something like that I was just able to like capture and like tell the people so they got a little bit of insight as like what was going on in the arena. Because I mean, you could hear them throughout like the whole arena. These like 9-year-olds that were just going crazy.
What? Give me an example of a huge analogy that's common for you. Is it there like a Booyah moment type of thing with Stuart Scott?
Um, I like to. I don't have like a consistent one. It's more like I make it up on the fly. But uh, like this one kid on Wilkes basketball team like had like a poster this year. His name was like Noah. So I'm like Noah Jackson, absolutely posterize that man. Like like in the moment, like I was like at like with the headset on, like at like the table, I stood up and I was just like yelling, like yeah, like you can't be afraid of what the people around you are going to think
Hmm.
because like to people around me, I probably looked absolutely like insane
Hmm.
because like it was the middle of the third quarter and Wilkes was
It
up by
made
like
zero
10.
sense.
I'm wild over this dunk because I have to convey the emotion of it to an audience that can't see what's happening.
Right.
Yeah. So
And that's honestly impressive. Like, because I think we both know that like there's always going to be haters out there. I mean, that's just the world, social media, we live in right now. But you can't care. Like, you got to do you, and that's what it drives people to want to watch because like it's you, it's real, it's not fake.
yeah, like you like that to anybody like looking to get into like similar career paths that like me and you were going into,
Mhm.
you have to just be yourself. And like you can't be afraid to show that
Right.
because when people watch back or listen back, like they can tell if you're timid and you're not fully into it. And it makes the content like for lack of a better term just boring.
Right.
Like someone's just going to be monotone and not express the emotion. And that's also why you have to know what you're talking about, though. Because I'm not immune to this. I called a lacrosse game for Wilkes, and I couldn't really see the field from where I was sitting, and I don't know lacrosse that well. I'm sure it came off as probably boring and monotone to the people listening because it wasn't a great call on my end. Because one, I couldn't see what was really happening, and two, I don't know the terms that well, so I'm trying to like figure out the terms and such. So, like I'm not immune to it, but I know when I have a great call that
Hmm.
it is a great call.
No, and that's all respect. And um, before we get wrapping this up, because I want to save big sports topics for a whole segment. I don't want to. This is like I said, is just an introduction. But for first off, plug yourself. Put all your tell people social media. I'll put
Uh,
it on YouTube as well.
all right, so for the YouTube, Stay Humble Sports, it's right there, and it's the same thing on Instagram and Twitter. For myself, just Dylan Mehl, DMehl 17, which is DMehl 17. And that's what my TikTok is if you care about my music opinions.
And he's doing
Uh,
a moonwalk. He already announced it on here.
yeah, I mean, starting in the fall, fingers crossed. Back at Wilkes, 90.7 WCLH.org, be the radio station. I'm sure I'll have more tweets out specifically talking about when the shows will be for that then. But yeah, those are my plugs.
Now, is there anything you have any questions? I'm just curious.
uh, I don't know. I mean, I'm just real excited to get this ball rolling with you and get as many shows out as possible.
Yeah, this is honestly a work in progress, and like I said, once it's in person, it'll be way better. Like maybe we can do some cool segments, like maybe shootouts or something. Who knows?
We should,
That's
we,
down the line.
we should definitely make bets throughout the fantasy football season week to week.
Oh, 100%. We'll get the viewers in on it. We'll do a lot of stupid stuff. And if there's ever controversial fantasy football talk, we'll know to bring it here. And that's what
It'll be here.
we'll drop it out here. But
If you get mad at me next season for trading with someone, you can come give me a verbal lashing here.
hey, you gave me a Jordan Howard trade. I said I'll never trade with you, but that was a move at the time because I had some injured players, and he ended up getting me 30 fantasy points one game.
Wasn't that against Dom too? Dom was.
That was against Dominic. Dominic was so mad.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this is Dylan Mehl, and I really appreciate you talking. And Dylan, like I said, will be on the limb. He'll be a recurring guest on this show, and so I'm really excited to have him. And this is gonna be great. And we might even do a collab with Stay Humble Sports. So stay tuned.
All right, yeah, man, I'm real excited. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks. See you.